and it's their intrinsic
beliefs now. You know, this food basically robs.
Sound feasible, sound like. But come on, it's not that serious. And this is going to be the problem. And, you know, it's a shame. This is going to be the issues that we face until we wake up and realize who is really behind this whole thing. Understand the job of the media and the press is to have a story. They got to keep stories going. They're going to keep adding fuel to the flames. Anything that borders on the line of racism or anything that has to do with race, they're going to touch on it. They're going to do stories about it. Movies are going to come out. All kinds of scripts is going to get green lighted if it has to do with race. It's just that simple. And yeah, Morgan Freeman, I mean, the whole thing when he had the interview, when he said, yeah, the best thing to do is to stop talking about it. You know, don't call me black. I won't call you white. You know me by my name. I know you by your name. I mean, it's just common sense. And a lot of people got offended by what he said about, yeah, I don't want no Black History Month. Is there a White History Month? We don't never say, you know, Michael Phelps, he was the first white man to get this many medals. No, come on. It's stuff that has to stop in order for us to move forward. And when you give energy to this stuff, and I know I'm really giving energy to it now by bringing it up and talking about it, but we have to talk about it. This has to be put into truth and not into, you know, arguments, into deception where it's at right now. Because anything you say to the contrary of anything, you know, that is controversial that a white person does or that borders on a line of racism, another white person is going to jump in there and say, but y'all killing each other. Or, but what about all of the poor black women in the neighborhoods with babies and they keep having babies? And it has nothing to do with the actual topic. It's just what we use to argue over is becoming ridiculous, and we're not looking at the real enemy that's right in front of us. We are being faced right now with the worst two candidates, and I can say in my history of living, I'm 34, and I mean, people believe that Trump is the worst thing that's going to ever happen to this country if he becomes president. But I challenge you to look closely at Hillary Clinton, which is why they give you Donald Trump, because one, it will be hard to sell Hillary Clinton if everything was revealed about her. So we got to give you the worst, most horrible candidate to go against to get people to overwhelmingly accept Hillary Clinton as the next president, because Donald Trump is just that bad, when in reality, Hillary may be worse, and it's spooky. And I don't know where America is going to be headed or what's going on. But when you start digging into that woman and stuff she's done, I mean, it's tough. It's tough. And yeah, Trump ain't no picnic. Hillary ain't no picnic. We all wanted Bernie, for real. But yeah, when you get down to it, it don't matter. They already picked who the president is. It's all bullshit. We have been warned countless times, and we choose to ignore it, about what's going on in this country. Now, I want to play a video that I want you to watch and pay attention to and understand that this video was long ago, and that everything this man said has come to pass. The question you should be asking yourself is, how did he know? And what the hell is going on? Take a look.
A part of that plan, of course, is to induce the gradual surrender of American sovereignty, piece by piece and step by step, to various international organizations, of which the United Nations is the outstanding but far from the only example. Here are the aims for the United States. 1, greatly expanded government spending for every conceivable means of getting rid of ever larger sums of American money as wastefully as possible. 2, higher and then much higher taxes. 3, an increasingly unbalanced budget, despite the higher taxes. 4, wild inflation of our currency. 5, government controls of prices, wages, and materials, supposedly to combat inflation. 6, greatly increased socialistic controls over every operation of our economy and every activity of our daily lives. This is to be accompanied, naturally and automatically, by a correspondingly huge increase in the size of our bureaucracy and in both the cost and reach of our domestic government. 7, far more centralization of power in Washington and the practical elimination of our state lines. There is a many-faceted drive at work to have our state lines eventually mean no more within the nation than our county lines do now within the states. 8, the steady advance of federal aid to and control over our educational system, leading to complete federalization of our public education. 9, a constant hammering into the American consciousness of the horror of modern warfare, the beauties and the absolute necessity of peace, peace always on communist terms, of course. And 10, the consequent willingness of the American people to allow the steps of appeasement by our government which amount to a piecemeal surrender of the rest of the free world and of the United States itself. So brush the insider's dust out of your eyes, my friends, and the communist soap suds out of your brain, and ask yourselves in all honesty, what on earth is wrong with the United States simply minding its own business? Or with having its foreign policy function primarily for the safety and benefit of the American people. Which is exactly what we had done for the first 140 years of our existence as a nation, to the incredible advantage of ourselves and everybody else. Everybody, that is, except a numerically small clique of power-lusting conspirators who had somehow inflicted themselves on a gullible world. While we turn to a very brief summarization of what we hope the John Birch Society will help and even sometimes lead the American people to accomplish during the next 15 years. 1, our first and most important specific undertaking should be to restore the complete independence of the United States. This includes our resolution to get us out of the United Nations and get the United Nations out of the United States. 2, we must once again make our money freely redeemable in gold at some realistic price. And we must take all practicable legislative steps to prevent a recurrence of the enormous thievery and other subversive crimes that have been perpetrated on the American people through a contrived inflation by every president from Franklin Roosevelt through Richard Nixon. 3, we should reduce the number of government bureaus, of government civilian employees, and the whole quantity of government by at least 50%. And we should achieve at least this much reduction in proper fashion through gradually convincing a majority of the American people of the wisdom of such a course. 4, we should withdraw all American troops from every spot on earth that is not American soil, except when and where such troops may be required as decided by Congress to protect American lives and property from criminal vandalism. 5, 5, we should get government out of the areas and functions and activities where government does not belong. Again, all steps to this end should be taken gradually, but nevertheless just as rapidly as enough of the American people can be persuaded to support such progress. Any such achievement will require a truly massive educational force, but that's exactly what we hope to build during the next 15 years. We could go ahead for at least 100 numbered items, but the John Birch Society will undoubtedly be working on more than that many specific projects, which will be laid out in its bulletins before another 180 months will have rolled around. And all of these projects will fit into the general pattern indicated by the 5 major objectives listed above. So let's really wind up this marathon monologue with one final thought. None of us can guarantee anything about what the future will bring. Your speaker knows what a job we have before us to rid our country of the scourge of communism within the next few years, and then to go ahead on our constructive program so well that 15 years from now we shall already be entering an era of far less government, of a much sounder sense of responsibility, and, with God's help, of a better world. But I sincerely believe that it can be done, and this much I know. If every man and woman in this audience should leave here tonight feeling in his or her own mind and heart that it can.
Now, we have been warned by countless people, many times through history. People has explained to us that we would go through exactly what we have went through. Many presidents, many prominent people have warned us, tried to tell us that, hey, something is wrong. There are people in power who are trying to take control, and they have done it already. It has been done. So this is divide and conquer. A lot of you see it. Some of you choose not to see it because you are filled with hate for whatever reason. But we need to understand what's really taking place. And are we going to sit around and keep arguing about stuff that really don't matter? Or are we going to wake up and choose to see that every time the news says something about race, says something about any kind of terrorist attack in America, that this is all a part of their agenda? I agree with the people who are saying, well, we need to stop killing each other. Black people need to stop having so many babies. I agree with all that kind of stuff, but that has nothing to do with what's really going on. It's a reason behind all this stuff. And as I said before, when you put people in poverty, crime is inescapable. It's just that simple. The same things that happen in the black community happens in the white community. The light is just being only shed on the black community for a reason. Divide and conquer. Why isn't the government spending the $1.3 billion to completely eradicate poverty in America, but instead wants to spend $1.7 billion on stuff that is not really going to help us at all? It's just that simple. As the gentleman said in the video, we need to just mind our business. America needs to mind its business. You need to understand that this is not America, and the people who is controlling this are people from another country who is using America to fulfill their agenda. I know that's hard for you to accept. You could be the most patriotic person in America. I've served this country. I've been in war. So you can't tell me. I understand something is wrong. Y'all need to wake up and pay attention, because what's coming, I guarantee you, is not going to be good for any of us. You can sit there and believe it's going to be good for just white people, but you're wrong. You're sorely mistaken. They showed you they don't care. They do not care. A lot of white people lost their homes in 2008. A lot of white people died in 9/11. A lot of white people died Pearl Harbor. Pay attention to what's going on. This is a trap. It's a setup. I need to wake up and stop arguing about stupid stuff that has to do with race. It's stupid. It's dumb shit. Now, I didn't want this to be a long video. I just want to touch on that because I see a lot of people talking about that specific subject, what's going on in Milwaukee and everything like that with the riots and all. And it's the same stuff. Come on. It's not something different. We've seen this before. It's the same stuff over and over. They want our guns. The stuff is going to keep happening. Fake terror attacks, false flags, what have you. The question is, when are people going to wake up and see it for what it really is and act accordingly? And it seems like something major is going to have to happen where people, it's finally going to wake up, and by then it's going to be too late. So what we need to do is stop marching, stop talking about the shit, stop adding fuel to it. The only thing we need to be talking about and saying when we talk about these subjects is it's a trap. It's all a part of their agenda. When the movies come out, when people start talking about the whole Nat Turner movie, when they start talking about everything else that has to do with this racial separation, what you need to be said instead of adding fuel to it is it's bullshit, it's a trap, it's a part of their agenda to divide and conquer. Not that, well, black people need to stop shooting each other, or, well, white people got white privilege. We need to stop that. All we are doing is adding to our own downfall and helping them to, complete and fulfill their agenda. That's all we're doing. I know people are upset, especially black people. We're upset about what's going on. We are the ones being, killed in the street, and them showing bodies in the street, kids being shot, and all kinds of stuff that's going on. And, it's funny that they don't look at the whole situation and say, why hasn't the president, why hasn't Obama, black man, half black, half white, what have you, done something to stop this? Why hasn't Obama passed some kind of law? I mean, it's so much on his watch as an African-American president, because that's what they're going to call him. That's what they call him. On his watch, why hasn't he done something at a time where we really needed him the most as a people? Anybody else, if it was the other way around, and y'all know this, if it was the other way around and it was black people killing a bunch of white people, black cops, something would have been done fast. And we all know this. As I said, if Africa was white, it wouldn't be a bunch of starving kids there. And that's not to put it in a racial category. It's for you to understand that things are done for a certain reason. There's an agenda behind it. And y'all need to understand that before y'all, say stuff and think things are a certain way when it's not. Now, I didn't do this video to try to, cause any kind of controversy, but just to get both sides to stop and think for a second. Something is not right. Something is wrong. Look at everything, all the way back to the speech, BET, that, what's his name? Jesse Williams, whatever his name is, gave. All the way back to then. And everything that happened after that. I mean, even before that, it just keep happening. The same old shit. It's a setup. It's obvious. And, we got to stop going back to the past and pulling out all this old shit and mixing it all in with stuff. It don't belong there. It's a trap. And as long as we continue to argue about the wrong thing, instead of focusing on this trap and who's really behind it and what's really going on, nothing is going to change. Because right now, they are saying it's working. It's working. Let's keep it going. The reason why it hasn't stopped is because we didn't stop it. Because we are fueling it and we are adding to it and we are doing exactly what they want us to do. Until we say it's a trap, it's a setup, it won't stop. Now, I want to thank you guys for taking the time to watch and really understand what's going on. It's a setup. It's a trap. You all know it. Anybody who wants to look deeper into this thing, I got videos on it. Look into it yourself and understand what's taking place. It's all a part of an agenda, and it's divide and conquer. That's all it is. So either you're going to be a person who wants to be fueled by it and you want to argue about it, and because you are racist or you got hate in your heart for an opposite race, or you're going to be a person who wants peace. And the majority of us want peace. And I believe even the people who have hate in their heart at some point want peace. We need to understand what's going on and that this is being set against us and it's a trap, and we need to act accordingly. And to do that, you need to do some research and recognize what's taking place. Now, thank you guys again for watching. See you next video.